Today, we are pulling back the curtain on artificial intelligence to get a look at the engine that really makes it all run. And you know what? It's not code, not in the way you might think. It's pure, elegant mathematics. We're going to explore the fundamental calculus that actually allows a machine to learn. Okay, let's dive right in.
So this is the big question, right? We see AI doing these absolutely incredible things, but how does it get there? I mean, how does a jumble of circuits and numbers go from making totally random guesses to, say, generating beautiful art or diagnosing diseases? It honestly feels like magic, but the process is completely logical, and it all starts with one simple goal.
Okay, I want you to imagine something. Picture yourself as a hiker, standing on this massive, hilly landscape, but it's completely covered in thick fog. You can't see more than a few feet in front of you. Your goal is simple. Get to the absolute lowest point you can find, the bottom of the deepest valley. This is a perfect analogy for what a machine learning model is trying to do. Every single setting for its internal knobs and dials represents a location in this landscape, and your altitude, well, that's its error. The higher up you are, the more mistakes the model is making. The lower you get, the smarter it becomes.
And here's the thing. This journey downhill is not random. You're not just stumbling around in the fog, hoping you trip into the valley. No way. You have a tool. A perfect compass that, no matter where you are, always tells you which way is down. And that tool is differential calculus. As one of our sources puts it so well, the process of a model learning is really just the same thing as repeatedly trying to minimize an error function, all through the lens of derivatives.
So let's make this a little more concrete. For any AI model, the goal is what's called an optimization problem. It really just has one single objective. Find the settings, that perfect combination of its internal weights and biases that lead to the absolute min number of mistakes. It's all about that search for the bottom of the valley.
Now, the terrain itself, this whole landscape of error we're talking about, is defined by something called a loss function. You can think of it as a mathematical scorekeeper. It takes what the model guessed, compares it to the actual right answer, and then spits out a single number that says just how wrong the model was. A high number means a huge error, you're way up on a mountain peak. A low number means a tiny error, you're getting close to that valley floor. The entire goal of training is just to tweak the model settings to make that loss number as close to zero as humanly possible.
Okay, so if the loss function is our landscape, how do we navigate it? In that dense fog, how do we have any idea which way is downhill? This is where calculus steps in and gives us our compass. We need a way to measure the steepness of the landscape right where we're standing. And the fundamental tool for that is the derivative. Now, for a simple function, the derivative just tells you the slope of the line at any given point. A positive slope means you're going up, and negative slope means you're going down. For our hiker, the derivative tells them how their altitude, their error, changes if they take one tiny step forward or backward. It is the key to understanding the terrain right under your feet.
So, how does this simple idea of a slope scale up? I mean, a real AI model doesn't just have one knob to tune. It can have billions of them. So we can't use a simple derivative. Instead, we use what's called a partial derivative. This measures the slope with respect to just one of those billion parameters, while keeping all the others locked in place. It lets us see the impact of a single setting on the final error. And when we bundle all of those individual measurements together, we get something called the gradient vector. And that vector is our ultimate compass.
And this right here is the absolute crucial point. The gradient vector itself, by its mathematical definition, always points in the direction of the steepest uphill climb. It points directly towards more error. So, what do? It's simple. We just flip it around. We take the negative of the gradient, and that new vector will always, without fail, point in the direction of the steepest downhill path from wherever you are standing. It is the perfect guide to the bottom of the valley.
All right, now that we have our compass, the negative gradient, we can finally start our journey. The algorithm that uses this compass to take steps and actually move through the landscape is called gradient descent. And it is, without a doubt, the most fundamental optimization algorithm in all of machine learning.
The process itself is just beautifully simple and repetitive. First, you start your model with random settings, which is like parachuting our hiker into a totally random spot in that foggy landscape. Second, you calculate the gradient right there to figure out which way is steepest downhill. Third, you take one small step in that direction. This step updates the model's parameters just a tiny bit, nudging them in a direction that lowers the error. And finally, you just repeat. Calculate the gradient, take a step, calculate the new gradient, take another step, over and over again, thousands, maybe millions of times, until you can't go any further down.
So an obvious question is, how big should those steps be? Well, this is controlled by a really critical setting called the learning rate.
and it's a major trade-off. If you set a high learning rate, you take these huge, confident leaps downhill. This can be fast, for sure, but you risk completely overshooting the bottom of the valley and just bouncing back and forth between the walls, your error going wild. On the other hand, if you set a very low learning rate, you take these tiny, cautious, shuffling steps. This is way safer, much more stable, but it can be incredibly slow. You might even get stuck on a nearly flat area, a plateau, thinking you've reached the bottom when you're nowhere close. Finding that just right learning rate is a huge part of training an AI model.
Okay, so we know we need the gradient to take a step, but in a massive neural network with millions of parameters spread across hundreds of layers, how on earth do you efficiently calculate the gradient for every single one? How does an error, which you only measure at the very end of the network, tell a parameter at the very beginning how it should change? We're going to need a map.
And that map is an algorithm called backpropagation. The best way to think about it is like a chain of dominoes. The model makes a prediction in what's called a forward pass, which is like tipping over that first domino. At the very end, we measure the error. That's the final domino falling. Backpropagation is the process of figuring out how much each individual domino in that chain contributed to the final result, but by working in reverse. It sends that error signal backwards to the network from the very last layer all the way back to the first.
The mathematical engine that makes this reverse domino effect possible is something called the chain rule from calculus. See, a neural network is just a giant composite function. It's a function of a function of a function, and so on. The chain rule tells us that to find the derivative of the whole thing, you can just find the derivatives of each little piece and then multiply them all together. So backpropagation starts with the error at the very end, and as it moves backwards through each layer, it just multiplies by that layer's local derivative. This efficiently calculates the exact contribution of every single weight to the final error, giving us that complete gradient we need to take our next step.
Now, simple gradient descent works, but let's say it's not perfect. The real-world loss landscapes for deep neural networks aren't these smooth, simple bowls. They're incredibly complex, filled with ravines, plateaus, and all sorts of weird shapes. To navigate this kind of treacherous terrain, we need smarter tools, more advanced versions of gradient descent.
This is the exact problem. Imagine the valley you're trying to reach isn't a wide open space, but a very long, narrow canyon with incredibly steep walls. If you use standard gradient descent, your compass, the gradient, will always point toward the steepest direction, which is straight into the canyon wall. So you take a step, you hit the wall. Then the gradient points to the opposite wall, and you just bounce back and forth, making painfully slow progress down the actual canyon. This is called pathological curvature, and it is a massive problem in practice.
So how do we solve this? Well, we use advanced optimizers, which are kind of like upgrading our hiking gear. An optimizer called momentum, for example, adds a kind of velocity. It remembers the direction it was going in previous steps. This helps it ignore those side-to-side temptations of the ravine walls and just accelerate down the canyon. Another one, RMS prop, it adapts the learning rate for each parameter by itself, taking smaller steps on steep slopes and bigger steps on flatter ones. And then there's ADAM. It stands for Adaptive Moment Estimation, and it essentially combines the best of both worlds. It has the velocity of momentum and the adaptive step sizes of RMS prop. It's just incredibly effective, which is why it's pretty much the default choice for most deep learning today.
But as we build deeper and deeper networks, another tricky problem pops up, and it comes directly from the chain rule. Remember, backpropagation works by multiplying all those derivatives together. Well, if those derivatives are consistently small numbers, less than 1, their product is going to shrink exponentially as it travels back through the network. This is the vanishing gradient problem. The error signal basically fades away to nothing, and the earliest layers of the network completely stop learning. And yep, the opposite can happen too. If the derivatives are large, their product can grow exponentially, leading to the exploding gradient problem, where the updates get so huge that the model's training just completely breaks.
So engineers have come up with a whole toolkit to fight these problems. For instance, they use special functions like ReLU. The key thing to know is that its derivative is a clean 1, which stops the error signal from shrinking as it gets passed back. They also use smart weight initialization, which just means starting the model's parameters not randomly, but in a specific way that keeps the signal stable from the get-go. For exploding gradients, you have gradient clipping. It's a brilliant, simple trick. If the gradient gets too big, you just shrink it down. And one of the most powerful ideas is skip connections, which are famous in models like ResNets. These create an information highway that lets the gradient literally skip over layers, giving it a direct, clean path back to the early parts of the network. It's an amazing way to make sure the learning signal always gets through, no matter how deep the network gets.
So as we zoom back out, you can really see the whole story. It all starts with the simple idea of a slope at a single point.
And through the power of multivariable calculus, this one idea scales up to let us navigate these unimaginably complex, billion-dimensional landscapes. Calculus really is the universal language that lets a model measure its own mistakes and systematically get better.
I really want to land on this quote from our source material because it just perfectly captures the whole thing. There is no separation between learning and optimization. They are the same process. Every single time you hear that an AI model is learning, what's actually happening under the hood is that it's calculating a gradient and taking one small step downhill in the landscape of its own error. That's it. That is the core of it.
And that leaves us with one last really fascinating question. We spent this entire time talking about how to navigate the landscape, but what creates the landscape in the first place? What gives it its unique shape, with all its specific valleys, ravines, and plateaus? Well, the answer is really two things: the architecture of the neural network itself, and maybe even more importantly, the data you train it on. The landscape is the problem, as defined by that data, which means the next frontier isn't just about building better compasses, but about understanding and even shaping the very world our models are trying to explore.